I am resident of Collinwood for YouTube. Joel Sands. It's my buddy Alan Gallant. We're here to review the movie Turbo Kid. Uh, so, Alan, when did you first watch this movie?
I first watched this movie this afternoon and evening.
Me
First
too.
time I'd even heard of it was when you sent a message. So
I heard about it before from a friend who recommended it to me, but I first watched it. I figured, you know what? I typed it up to see if it was free anywhere because I don't really want to pay for movies right now. I just bought a bunch of stuff for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like I saw it was free on TV. I'm like, okay. And
Yeah.
I watched it when I suggested it to you guys, but I watched it today. I was really, you said about this being on location on months. I was impressed with how they did do the post-apocalyptic stuff.
Yeah.
With the locations.
Yeah, it's Thetford Mines. It's in Quebec, Canada, and this is a Canadian production from start to finish. Michael Ironside's the most famous actor in it, and he is Canadian by birth. And Thetford Mines is in several abandoned mines there. They are asbestos mines. That's why they're abandoned now. But they're a great backdrop for this movie. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it really brings out the movie, not just the people, not just the cast of characters, but the location as well, because he's the kid who's going to be Turbo Kid is collecting scraps, so he's a scavenger.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are. I mean, you have a guy who literally trades him. He goes, "Okay, I'll give you something for your junk."
Yeah, and he fronts him stuff too. Keeps him in debt to him, I think too. You know, he's like, "Here, take these. You can pay me later." You know, that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's a harsh world that he's living in, no doubt.
It's like he's a junk pimp. Like, here,
yeah.
I'll lend you this, but because I know you'll be back.
That's right.
Like, why not? I was really curious. Because I had never seen this until today, like you did. I was really interested in the lovely blonde actress who played the robot, and because she was just so unpredictable.
Yeah, she was fun. Laurence Leboeuf, also Canadian actress. She's 38 now. I think she was in her 20s when she made this film. This was in 2015. So this would have been made 9 years ago. So she would have been 29, something like that. So yeah, she's very interesting.
Yeah, she doesn't look like that old either, too. She looks a little younger.
You know, she's still in her 20s, like I said, when she made the movie. I think, yeah, she would have been in her late 20s. But yeah, she looks even younger than that in this film. So
yeah, and she's very spontaneous. And the one thing we learned is that robots are dangerous. It sort of gives it's a mix between Mad Max and sort of Terminator feel.
Yeah.
That robots are dangerous. Basically, if you want to say is it quite technology? Sort of. We know that technology turned against people somewhat.
Yeah, it's also sort of junkyard technology, like there is in the Mad Max films, where they have to take what's left and put stuff together.
You make them as. What did you think of all the cool weapons being made here?
Well, in particular, Michael Ironside's character, of course, carries a golf club. He's got the simplest weapon of all. He carries a golf club, which we find out why late in the latter part of the movie. But he's just sort of this, senior villain figure, and he's obviously in control. And we find out his sidekick, the guy with a skull mask and the whole 9 yards there, he's overly fond of circular saw type technology. He's got a circular saw on either hand at various times. So there's that kind of found junkyard technology that has been put to use to become deadly weapons. And of course, the special effects people put it to good use with lots of blood bladders and pumps and so on, as a lot of these guys end up with, lethal wounds during various battles. And it shocks you at first, but then after a while, it's like, oh, look at that, it's kind of like that. So it's fun. It's fun.
I would say this is very, though this movie is made in 2015, it feels very much 80s.
Oh, the music, the soundtrack is totally 80s. It's all synthesizers.
Yeah.
It's very much 80s. They're paying tribute to a lot of things in this movie, I think, and having fun with it. So I don't think any of it's unconscious. I think this is what we're doing.
They're very aware.
Yes, I think very much so. Very much so. Let's see. This movie was directed by 3 people: Francois Simard, and then the Whistles, Anouk and Johan Carl. Anouk is the wife, I think, and Johan Carl is the husband. It was written by Francois Simard and Anouk Wissel and Johan Carl Wissel. And it was produced by different people: Benoit Bello, Amory Guéranos, Tim Riley. Ooh, there's a name that's not French. And somebody by the name of Ant Timpson. But it's soaked in Canadiana. I mean, it is what it is. It's a lot of these actors come out of either Ontario or Quebec. So
I like the plot device that they use bicycles to get around.
Yeah, it's very, again, it's basic technology. They don't have, there's no talk of hoarding gas. It's about water in this movie instead of gas. I'm not sure how I guess they must come up with some sort of battery powering for some of the buzzsaw, the hands and stuff like that. You never really find out exactly, but it does seem to be electrically done like Turbo Kid's, his special armband thing that shoots off electrical plasma, that he gets early in the film. But and then the whole thing with the comic book's kind of fun too. It kind of inspires him basically.
Yeah, they really connect the dots really well for the young actor to have a setup for a past story that you're not aware of quite yet early on in the film.
Yeah.
And then he gets a Turbo Kid comic. It's like, okay, is there an importance to it? And the answer is yes. Because you see his mother, who was murdered by Michael Ironson's character.
Yes.
Has this picture of photographer thing where it's like, it turns and you see the pictures of Turbo Kid, but you also see he shows the woman pictures of dinosaurs and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, you get all the past connection, and I think that was a really good job because this movie, though probably because they're shooting in Canada, though this movie you look at it. It does, even though you can say, is it cheap? It's like they don't try to be cheap in a sense. It doesn't look cheap.
I mean, it is a low budget film. There's no doubt about that. But that doesn't distract you so much.
No,
it really doesn't. You just go with it. You go with the fact that, hey, there's no CGI in this film. Hey, and all of this sort of stuff, and some of the effects aren't as slick, but they're still there, and you can go with them. So.
The blood effects are a bit 80s too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say so.
I think, again, thematically, they probably went with that because that was what they had. That was what they could afford to do anyway. So, hey, let's just make that part of our theme with the music, some of the other stuff. So, yeah.
The guy pedaling the bike to keep the power running.
Yeah, the old man. Yeah. It's like, keep going. Yes. Lovely.
The funniest, the one that, because I didn't know what to expect when watching this, I was not expecting there to be an arm wrestling champion of all things.
Yeah, that's just something they said. Hey, let's do something weird. I think it's just out of the blue kind of thing. And then they, of course, have the bad guy cut his hand off almost immediately. So.
Yes. and his right hand
Yes,
too.
of course, of course. And then you
Well,
got to go Luke Skywalker with a bionic hand there, or metal hand that he used.
which is also a shout out to Army of Darkness. I
Yes,
mean,
yes,
too.
that's right.
So,
That's right.
because he gets a knight, like a metal looking knight hand almost, and it's
He
like he's
does.
using it
Yeah.
to fight with, and it's like, and the fighting style too in this movie is very unique.
It's paced differently.
Yeah.
It's very deliberately paced. It's not super fast like you get in some movies. It's like bang, okay, let's have that land, and then let it land on the audience, and then and have the next thing happen. So it's all very deliberately paced. And it didn't bother me at all, because it gave you a chance to see the effect that, you know, that the various fight moves were having on the characters. So that's fine.
I think the one thing too, from a plot standpoint, it showed how much the armor protects and doesn't protect from said damage.
Mm-hmm.
They did a good job with that storytelling method
Yeah.
too. It's like, okay, you can have armor, but it only works so much.
Right. Right.
It
was also a great thing to hide the blood effects in too, because they would hide chest plates and stuff like that. So
yeah. If you don't want to, okay, we've showed this much blood. Do we have to show this blood? No, you can hide that if you're wearing armor.
Mm-hmm.
But I do agree with you. I do think there's some battery operated going on in the guy's saw arm or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because that's something they don't really
get into it.
Yeah, they don't talk about that, which I just think that's something the writers maybe missed out on.
Either that, or they figured just let them enjoy it.
Yeah.
Fill in the blanks themselves. Sometimes you let your audience do that. So, and certainly that's not a bad move. So, I mean, we figured it out, hey, it's probably this.
I like how he's getting shot at by the guy. He falls down into like the head, where the turbo armor is.
Yes.
It's like, at first I'm like, what is this? What did he fall into? I thought he fell into a mine.
Right.
Was my initial, but it's like, no, he found the secret lair of the turbo armor.
That's right. That the guy actually existed, and there's all of his equipment, and his weaponry and everything. So, yeah.
What did you think of that?
Well, I thought that was a great way to sort of just dispense with, have him. And of course, you're in this dystopian wasteland anyway, so anything's possible. You could fall into a hole, you could do this, you could do that. So it makes sense. It doesn't have to be, plotted out and him discovering because of, some great plan or anything like that. We already got the foreshadowing. He's reading the comic book. He's really into this superhero guy. And all of a sudden, somebody was doing the superhero guy, and so he finds it. So it works fine for me. In the context of this film, almost anything goes as long as it's consistent the way the movie's being presented to you. And I think they did a good job with that. You don't need a lot of money to tell a story.
No, you don't. If this movie had been made 10 years prior in 2005, we would have probably got a Bruce Campbell cameo in this. We probably would have. But no, but I think Michael Ironside, and you and I were touching upon this, what a really great actor to get to play your villain.
Oh yeah, he's I mean, obviously the voice and all of that sort of thing. He's very well versed at playing villains. He has played heroes occasionally, and he plays, cops occasionally and all of that sort of thing, but he's really good at the villain stuff.
Yeah, he's been around for sure.
Yes. Yeah, he's 74. He's my brother's age. So he's been around, I guess. He's been doing movies for 35 years, probably, something like that, 40 years.
Been doing some video games too.
I wasn't aware that he was Canadian before I saw this movie, and then I checked him out and said, oh yeah, okay.
I'm going to tell you this: when I first watched DS, I thought Jonathan Frid was British.
Yeah, he was kind of putting on a little continental accent.
Right.
Yeah, you would. And then the idea was he was supposed to be that he came from England, so he was putting on the family. So you didn't. absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
But here's the thing: Canadians are sort of British.
I mean,
Oh,
they up until 1967 they were a British colony. They were a British
yeah,
protectorate, and they didn't get their total independence until 67,
yeah,
which was about the same time that Frid was on the show. So their connection, in particular, Ottawa and Ontario and some of those provinces have a really strong connection to Great Britain, where Quebec and some of the other ones have a stronger connection to their French heritage. But
yeah.
and Fred was from the Toronto area. Hamilton's only about an hour away, so
Yeah.
it's all British. And he spent a lot of time in Britain too. He spent time there studying, acting and so on. So, and he also toured a couple of tours over there back in the 40s.
Yeah, really, really cool.
Yeah.
What did you think of the junkyard scavenger role here? The kid collecting junk, to sell it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the whole thing. I think it plays an integral part in the everyday lives of these people.
Yeah.
You're getting into extraordinary stuff with the fight against the evil guy and his minions and so on. But there's an everyday life here, and these people are living it. So you got scavengers all over the place, and I think that's what he ends up doing. He at the end of the movie, the arm wrestling guy asks him if he wants to hang out with him and go off and have adventures with him, and he says, "No, I think I'll go out into the wasteland." He's gonna go and scavenge adventures out there, and various other things.
Yeah,
He knows where to come back to get water since they struck water. So
yeah, he's going beyond the point, beyond the wasteland where he didn't really go too well. Like he
right,
didn't go past certain points.
sure, because
Now it's like, you know what?
and he's becoming an adult. So as a kid, they tell him, don't go there, don't go here, that sort of thing. Now he's becoming an adult, so he wants to go out and see the world, so to speak, even if it's a wasteland.
How shocked were you that Michael Ironside's character was a robot?
Mildly shocked. I wasn't terribly shocked because we already had one really realistic looking robot and the girl Apple. So it wasn't. And she goes, "Didn't you know?" In her quirky way. But no, it didn't shock me. I mean, it was a little bit of a surprise, but it wasn't. It was in this world, anything's possible again.
Yeah, when he finds her, it's like, here's this beautiful blonde woman.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, this was my friend. Now you can be my friend. He sees this dead corpse.
Dead body.
Like, oh shit.
Yeah, she's a little intense. She's a bit like Harley Quinn. Just a little touch of Harley Quinn going on there. Of course, she's similar to Margot Robbie in looks too. So that doesn't. But yeah, she's got that. It's like, I want to be your friend. Come on. Are you going to strangle me, or you really want to be my friend? And then, of course, he develops a crush on her, and then he discovers she's a robot. It's like, oh crap. It's humorous in some ways.
They're in the fighting compound after that guy loses his hand, and you can see where he's missing his hand, and everybody, all the gang are all chanting for Zeus, and she's like, Zeus.
Yeah, she gets all. She's excitable.
Yeah.
Because she's programmed to be friendly. She's friendly robot. So
he does get scared of her too, because they're playing tag, and then he realizes, okay, after the wound, she's a robot because she got shot. He's like, you're a robot. She walks over. He's back up. She's like, tag, you're in. Like,
Yeah. She reaches out with her finger. It's like she's immensely strong. She could poke her finger right through him if she wanted to, but she just tags him. So yeah. Again, they insert quite a bit of humor. That one of those final fights where they're fighting against all the minions of Michael Ironside's character, and they're blowing them into pieces, and the pieces are stacking on top of some of them. That's, you know, that's so absurd. You have to laugh at it, even though it's kind of gory, but it's also silly.
It landed on the one guy.
Yeah. At one point, they had one guy that had like 4 body parts stacked on top of him. It was like, you know, let's just push this beyond where it could normally go. They had fun with this. I think they had fun making this movie. Definitely.
Yeah, it looked like everybody had a good time doing it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's really, when they were doing the backstory of Michael Ironside's, you know, killer robot character to a degree.
He was corporate killer robot, you know.
Yeah, corporate killer robot.
You know, he's evil corporate robot, but he killed his masters, you know.
Dan Curtis would be proud of that man's choice of weapon, okay?
I imagine. Yeah. Yeah, golf club. Yeah. He even said 4 at one time when he's taking somebody's head off with it. So yeah.
I don't love to see Michael Ironside. We're gonna give you a golf club.
Okay, no problem. Can I have a 9-iron?
Yeah. Can I? Not a driver.
Yeah. Driver too long. 9-iron. I can really do some damage with a 9-iron. Okay.
I had a pair of golf clubs once after I learned Dan Curtis was into golf, just to see, because I'd never held. And when I held the driver compared to the other clubs, like holy shit.
Yeah, you really have to practice your swing because with the irons, although you can really unload with them, it's a more controlled thing, especially up close, pitching wedges and 9-irons and things like that. My dad golfed up until very recently. Hopes to again. He had a hip injury, but he's recovering from that. He's 90. He's going to be 97 later this month. So
there's always putt golf.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much what he plays anyway. I mean, he goes out. He used to go out with his buddy up till last year and play 9 holes. They just rent a cart and play their 9 holes and have their hot coffee and, you know, thermos in the spring and in the fall. And if it got too hot or too cold, they just wouldn't play. So, but my dad, when he first played, he was like Dan Curtis. He was obsessed with it. He used to he'd play like 36 holes in a day, which is 2 full rounds. It's practicing, you know, trying to get good at it. So
the last time I played putt-putt, I finished +7.
Yeah, that's not too bad. Not bad for putt-putt. I'll also tell you a story about my brother who actually worked up in Quebec many, many years ago for a mining company.
Yeah.
Joseph Sewell Mining out of Old Town, Maine, which is near my hometown of Bangor. But they had sites up in what's called the Gaspé region, which is way up north in Quebec. And he said that when they were off, they'd work, 8-10 hours a day or whatever, and then go grab a beer or whatever. And but they were out in the woods, so they'd have to sock in supplies ahead of time. But they could get a television station, and it was in French. And they would, on Saturdays, they would have a mini put, and they would have these like actual miniature golf tournaments where they would have like $5,000 purses. So and then they have these guys do this, and so they used to watch that and just get a big kick out of it. So
I remember like when you go to a putt-putt, the 2 greatest things there, other than the course, because the courses get ridiculous as you get along.
Sometimes they do, yes.
Yeah, I love how inside they had an arcade. That was one of my favorite things. But again, I was a kid.
Yeah.
So, what's your favorite scene in Turbo Kid?
Yeah, my favorite scene in this is actually that ridiculous battle towards the end of it, because it really summarizes the sort of, we're making an action film, but also wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Let's have a good time. And that is really the spirit of the whole thing. And, you know, the interjections of Michael Ironside going, "I'll kill you," you know, that kind of stuff. And then these guys getting piled on with their buddies' body parts and staggering around because their heads are up somebody's butt. You know, it's kind of literally what was happening.
One of the best hints of this movie, my favorite scene, is the other battle in the pit. Because when we see that, it's like it gives you an idea of what might come later.
Right, it's true. It's an introductory course in the
to the insanity of the movie that's coming later. It's like if you think the comedy and the action are done, no.
Mm-hmm.
I like how when he charges the thing, when the weapon charges in the pit, Michael Ironside's character is like, "Oh no, what has he got there?"
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ooh, something new.
Yeah, something new. That's right. Who's your favorite character in this?
It's Michael Ironside, I would have to say. Although I really like Apple too. And obviously Turbo Kid is the driver here, but he comes in third probably for me. So it's Ironside and LeBeouf, the actress who plays Apple, are probably my two favorite characters. We're taking a brief pause while Jules answers his phone. Hopefully, he's taking a beneficial message that will make him lots of money. In the meantime, let's discuss the low budget of this film. This film, I don't know how much it cost, but I'm thinking that probably Michael Ironside may have not totally donated his services, but essentially donated his services compared to what he would normally make. And because the movie only made, it was a limited release, it actually went to several film festivals, but it was a limited release in theaters, and it only made like $68,000 or something like that. So now, I don't know, it's been streaming and so on. The production company's probably making more money off of that. Certainly they would be making some money off of that. But I think probably whoever financed this, and they may have self-financed, I'm not sure, but having Michael Ironside in the film would help with financing, I'm sure, with that too. But I don't think it was their intention to make a movie that cost more than, $100,000 or $150,000, and it may have been less than that. So, oh, your audio's off.
Yeah, that's what's weird about it. That's what's weird about this. That my cat hit the button.
Yeah, thought you lost your voice there.
There's the box office take, like you said about, but there's no budget. There's no budget to it.
Which I'm thinking. I mean, it might have been that they made a few $1,000s. I don't know. I really can't say. I do know that it cost them virtually nothing in terms of the sets.
Yeah.
Because they were right there in Thetford Mines. Everything they wanted, they had, I'm sure.
Well, I know. See, that's what's weird. The last thing usually with Canada, I know Halloween Resurrection was filmed up there. Mm-hmm. And it was free to film up there. So I don't know if that's the case for this movie, because it's 2015.
Yeah, well, this is a low-budget film, so I'm sure it didn't cost them very much.
Right.
They may have had to pay something, but Canada is pretty friendly for filming. That's why back in the 90s, a lot of the series, especially those series like, Friday the 13th, the series, and some of those lower budget but still high quality series started filming in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Because they got a way better break on everything, basically. It didn't cost them as much to do, and the crews were less expensive up there. A lot of times you have to use the local crews, but they were professional, So why not? And the X-Files they filmed in Vancouver several of their seasons as well. So it was a big deal in the 90s and early 2000s. I'm sure it still is. I'm sure a lot of things still get filmed up in Canada. But this was an unusual location. This is up in the middle of not nowhere, but practically nowhere up in northern Quebec. So, or
Yeah,
middle
so,
Quebec.
yeah. My favorite, obviously, Canadian movie is Black Christmas.
Uh,
The original.
yeah.
But yeah, they did a really good job with this from the location, and they did the cast did a really good job of making this movie fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an energetic movie. It moves along nicely, and whoever did the costumes kind of got the sense of this dystopia pretty well, with a little inspiration from some of the movies we mentioned earlier, particularly the Mad Max series. But those kind of movies, they're interesting, and if you have a story to tell, you can kind of wrap that around it, and if the story's told well, you got something that's enjoyable to watch. And this isn't typically my kind of movie. I don't watch a lot of these kind of movies, but this one was enjoyable to watch because it didn't take itself too seriously.
Right.
Serious situations and a lot of action and stuff, but not too seriously. And I appreciated that.
Yeah, when you're having an arm wrestling match.
Yeah.
And then you have the robot. The robots are dangerous. Then you have the friendly robot Apple.
Yes.
It's like, my God.
Yeah, you got some interesting things that are right on the edge of absurd.
Yeah, it's
at all times.
You got even like Michael Ironside's villain performance at times, because the guy's like, "Care if I have a cigarette?" He's like, "No, go ahead."
It kills him anyway. Yeah.
And then in the next minute, they're cutting his hand off.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's what makes it fun. It's like it's a bit of a wacky movie.
Yeah.
But it's wacky fun adventure.
I also thought it was a stroke of genius to have one of the anti-heroes, the arm wrestler, be New Zealand Australian.
Yeah.
I immediately think of Mad Max when he opens his mouth. I mean, it's kind of like that. So
he's got the cowboy hat.
Yeah.
On.
Yeah, whole thing.
Well, they shot some westerns in Australia too.
Oh yeah.
And so you're sort of getting a nod of that too with the cowboy hat.
Yeah. Almost Crocodile Dundee type. The hat's not quite that flamboyant, but
yeah, it's. I'm trying to think. I don't think Quigley from Quigley Down Under wore a hat like that, to my recollection.
No, he wore an very American cowboy hat.
Very American cowboy hat.
With a kind of a curled brim.
Yeah, his is more outdoor.
Yeah.
Explorer cowboy hat.
Yeah.
Why you see Australians wear hats. So, yeah.
They got their own character. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Scale 1 to 10. What do you give this movie?
For the type of movie it is, I give it about a 7.5.
Our scores are the same here. I think it's a movie that
it's worth watching. It's fun.
Worth watching and entertaining. And it does exactly, when you're watching a movie, it does surprise you sometimes with certain things. Again, the girl I was totally shocked with, because I'm like, this girl is this, because my question was, is this girl this crazy? Just this dense?
You don't really know what she's about for a while.
No.
Just fun trying to figure it out.
It's like, you're almost wondering, because I was wondering, I'm thinking, okay, this girl says her friend died. I'm thinking,
he's been dead a long time.
Right. He's been dead a long time. He just didn't die yesterday. He's decomposed. His bones are
desiccated. Yeah. Almost a skeleton.
It's like, did this girl just happen upon this body?
Or what has she been doing with this body for the
Right.
last 3 months while it's been desiccating? You know, is she some kind of freak? You know, that kind of thing. But no.
Willie Loomis would stop and start asking questions.
Oh,
here.
absolutely. Just before he bolted and ran away.
Yeah. And he does a good job too, like sneaking away, like because she puts this bracelet on him and tracks him down.
And she's smiling the whole time. Her smile is like, oh, what's she doing?
She makes him food. It's like, because it's poison.
It's like,
yeah, it's we have the same score, 7.5. Really fun movie. So
awesome.
What's a movie you want to do tomorrow?
Oh Lord. Good question.
I know.
Hold on a second here. I had a couple of them earlier, but wrote them down. Dang it. Let's see what we're on here. I was thinking maybe, what's that? Have you guys done, what's that? Damn it. I'm really having a hard time remembering it. We've done A Shot in the Dark. Okay. We've done Doctor Strangelove. Kind of looking at older films.
We didn't do Doctor Strangelove.
You guys didn't?
No, we did not.
Okay. Why don't we try to do that and see if we can get Patrick on board for that? He might like that.
Yeah, I'll message him.
Okay. Let's try that one. See if that'll float.
Yeah. Yeah, Turbo Kid is an interesting film. Go check it. It's on Tubi. I'll leave a link to it in the description box. Go check it. Also, link to Alan Gallant's YouTube channel. Collins Port After Dark is going to be in the description box. Go check him out. Alan's got a bunch of Dark Shadows collections, a bunch of stuff to show you and explain to you. Really, really cool channel.
Wicked fun.
That's it. Have a good night, buddy.
Take care, man.